A very good morning to you. It is the 17th day of March 2026. So good to see you this morning. It's a Tuesday. A lot is happening. How hot is your coffee this morning?
Indeed, a hearty welcome to all of you. Trusting as always that you've had a nice restorative night and you're ready to face the day. We're here to give you a good cheering start early in the morning as always.
My name is Anne Odida.
I am Dibala.
Absolutely. The question you're asking this morning is a very interesting question. Is Edwin Sifuna the kind of leader Gen Z and young voters want in 2027? Once again, is Edwin Sifuna the kind of leader Gen Z and young voters want in 2027?
Yep.
Use the hashtag TV47 even as you give us your feedback. Social media platforms TV47 Kenya on Facebook and on YouTube, or next at TV47 Digital. I can already see some feedback here, one that is quite very interesting. Jakayo Kech anasema social media voters hawawezi panga line for 3 hours to vote. So, is Edwin Sifuna the kind of leader Gen Z and young voters want in 2027? Are you a young voter, Diba? I am a young voter. Are you a young voter?
Well, I won't call myself a young voter. Yeah, so I'm not in that bracket.
You're not in...
Of the youthful.
Oh,
yes,
youthful
we are
voter.
above 35.
But for me, do you think Edwin Sifuna is the kind of leader young voters want? Okay, I know you're not in that bracket, but do you think... I know you've interacted with young people, yeah? But from what they tell you, if you have...
Well, it seems to have captured the moment, but we always need to ask ourselves as well, as we've discussed on this particular show before, over and over again, are we caught up in that Messiah complex syndrome? You know, that any person, not only just Sifuna who will come, and he's captured the moment of the day, you resonate with the people, their feelings, and you're speaking their language, they will actually, you know, come on your side. And we saw this is a flip of what happened in before 2022, right? So the spotlight, who was soaking up the spotlight, it was President William Ruto at the end of the day, because it could resonate with the issues of the people. So at the end of the day, whoever really comes, young or old, if you resonate with the people and the issue and you speak their language, that, you know, hand will come to your side at the end of the day. And also the narrative that is being propagated by media, from, you know, traditional media to social media as well, there's something they normally call the spiral of silence theory, that really happens. That when we have dominant voices right now, as it is, and people are talking about Sifuna, we always now make even the people on the other side of the spectrum who are not very vocal and they have a different opinion, they cannot really share that opinion because there's a fear of isolation. The fear of you, you know, being ostracized because you're not on our side. So you're stigmatized as well. So you'll find, yes, there are a lot of people who, they're in their offices, they will hear this language, oh, Sifuna, but even them, they have reservations, just as they had reservations before with, you know, William Ruto. But they couldn't speak out because the majority, is the voice of the people, as you always say.
I feel like young people right now are easily swayed by words and, of course, narratives. I wonder if, again, the question that we've asked time and time again, will that Sifuna wave prevail up until 2027? Because even as we talk about speaking the language of the youth, the young voter, what then is the policies that they are presenting? Because, you know, if I tell you, for example, that, you know, today you're very nicely dressed, your shoe is very nice, that is what you want to hear. But how is that going to help you at the end of the day? So that is what I'm saying. I feel like the young people are easily swayed, but there is no end goal to it. Something that, you know, we look at and say that this is a solution that is being brought to the table. Because if the end goal at the end of the day is to send President William Ruto home, yes, then what? Then what next?
That's the question, indeed. And we need to interrogate these issues. You know, we plumb deeper to issues, more than sloganeering and, you know, populism that is being, you know, advanced right now. We need to take and tackle a person on the issue based that they actually will bring such a distinctive difference in our politics. Because our brand of politics has become, oh, you know, amefanya, we know mumona, ameiba, huyu, hey, tumpeleke, ni mganga, ni mchawi. I think we need to change our brand of politics and ask critical questions regarding our economy, you know, placed on the pillars of politics, economics, and social aspect of it as well. I mean, this is a whole holistic full orbit of how we approach our lives, even as Kenyans. And I think if we take our politics from where it is, ethnicity and tribalism and name calling, and bring issues on the table that we say, okay, how can we change our lives in the health sector, infrastructure, with what is actually is really happening. So we'll see sometimes, even in this all cacophony that is happening with all these noises that is being raised against, you know, President William Ruto, if there's something which is good, if there is this infrastructure bill which is an act right now has come into place, that we don't need to go with a hand in pail or a pail in hand to try and get donors to give us money, that we can actually get source of our own money to build our infrastructure. People will not really see that as genuine. They'll always say, no, there is something in this. Kuna kitu hapo. It cannot just be that they want to build a Talanta Stadium for the benefit of Kenyans. Well, there has been a budgeted corruption somewhere along this, you know, high-profile tanky projects that are there.
All right, talk to us. That is the question you're asking this morning. Is Edwin Sifuna the kind of leader Gen Z and young voters want in 2027? Our socials, once again, TV47 Kenya on Facebook and on YouTube, and on X at TV47 Digital. That will be forming the basis of our conversation on the state of the nation. Let's take a look at the state of the weather this morning. All right, let's see how the weather's looking this morning. There's a new update on the floods, but let's see how it's looking this morning. Kajiado, it's 26 degrees this morning. Scattered rains expected, and it's 16 degrees. Highs of 26 degrees today. Nande also scattered rains. It's 25 degrees this morning, so it's quite warm in Nande this morning. Highs of 29 degrees. In Kisii, it's a cloudy day, highs of 16 degrees this morning. This morning is 16 degrees, highs of 27 degrees expected. We take a look at Mandera. It's a mostly cloudy day. This morning it's 27 degrees, highs of 32 degrees. It's a partly sunny day in Turkana County. It's 26 degrees this morning, highs of 37 degrees expected in Turkana today. And in Kirinyaga County, it's 17 degrees this morning, highs of 28 degrees expected today. That's the state of the weather this morning.
Yes, indeed, they say, whatever the weather, we will weather the weather. But let's see how we can also get pumped up with the quarter of the day.
True growth and discovery happen when we embrace the unknown. It's only by stepping outside of our comfort zones that we open the door to greater possibilities.
All right, it's time to see what is fresh off the press, huh?
All right, let's take a look at what's making headlines this morning.
Yes, so we begin with the Daily Nation. And you want to take us through the Daily Nation?
You have it?
Yes. I have it there as well. And it's all about 2.1 billion shilling schools bursary scandal as a splash this morning. As you can see, they say corruption. Some constituencies were unable to account for 2.1 billion shillings in school bursary awards for 1 year, following an audit that found the scheme riddled with irregularities. The audit exposed favoritism and political patronage in the allocation of the funds, locking out bright but needy students. And you have some of the faces here. Aramat Lemaken Narok East special bursary issued to learners without filling application forms or undergoing vetting. And then we have Benjamin Gadiru, Embakasi Central Constituency Committee issued 7,000 1,500 applications forms, but awarded 11,132 learners. And you can read the rest of the details there with some of these irregularities. This story is well fleshed out for you on page 5 and page 4 and 5 of today's Daily Nation. And toy market yesterday. This is a devastation that you can see the fire razing down the entire, or a big chunk of the toy market yesterday. That is just a standalone picture. On the side, Ruto storms Western Gusii next to counterfoes. And to have full details of this, you go to page 10 of the publication today. And also, we can see State House wades into Nairobi hospital crisis. And there is devolution there. Counties splashed 160 billion shillings on packs, but little for growth. Counties spent only 32 billion shillings on development in the first 6 months of the 2025-2026 financial year. You have a story on page 23 of the Daily Nation.
All right. Let's take a look at what's making headlines on Taifa Leo this morning on the front page. Ruto Magharibi kuvuruga upinzani. Ni siasa za nipe ni kupe. Ziara za upinzani katika maeneo ya Kakamega, Busia, Vihiga na Gusii majuzi zilichangamkiwa zaidi, hali inayoonekana kumtia Ruto wasiwasi. Asema rekodi yake ya maendeleo itamuokoa mwaka 2027. Ni habari kuu katika ukurasa wa mbele wa gazeti hili na iko katika ukurasa wa pili. Rais kukita kambi maeneo magharibi mwa nchi kwa siku 7 katika juhudi za kufifisha umaarufu wa upinzani. Vidokezo zaidi, biashara sasa za noga huku Eid ikikaribia. Baadhi ya biashara zauza hadi usiku wa manane badala ya kufunga jioni kama kawaida. I wonder when Eid is. But the story is inside page 2 of this paper. Ugonjwa wa ajabu uliolemaza vizazi vitatu vya familia. It's a special feature. They say that jumla ya watu 12 katika vizazi vya familia moja ya Machakos wamelemaa kabla ya kufa kwa ugonjwa huo wa kutisha. Ukitaka kujua ni ugonjwa upi, habari kamili iko katika ukurasa wa pili wa gazeti hili. Wanga, Ayako na Orengo hawapumui. Habari nyingine katika ukurasa wa 4 anasema kwamba magavana hao wakabiliwa na upinzani mkali katika uchaguzi mkuu ujao bila uwepo wa Raila. Now these are some of the governors who are said not to be working in their constituencies, ama counties, counties, right? Sana Orengo in Siaya people are really complaining. Kule juu, Australia na Japan zakataa kusaidia Trump. Amerika ilikuwa imeomba mataifa rafiki kuisaidia kulinda meli za mafuta Hormuz. Masala ya spoti pale pia, Chelsea, Man City waomba muujiza UEFA. Gazeti la Taifa Leo.
All right, up next is the Standard, and it's all about the hostile takeover, the story of the Nairobi hospital, and now is in the public fixture right now. Court wrangles. In a case that reeks of high-stakes politics, Nairobi Hospital board members spent 7 hours in the boot of a police vehicle before appearing at Milimani Law Courts yesterday. Among them was 80-year-old heart patient Dr. Job Obwaka, whose arrest on Friday sparked outrage across the medical fraternity. Opposition leaders allege a hostile takeover of a historic institution, accusing President William Ruto of orchestrating the move. This story is on page 3 of the Standard today. And this is a very interesting story, if you may follow, and if you've been following since last year. I think there has been a lot of development around it. So people will ask, how come is President William Ruto embroiled in all this hospital saga? So according to them, and just some of the news that was coming to hand right now, is that we had some of the doctors, right, approaching President William Ruto because he's a patron of the Kenya Hospital Association, you know, that organization.
Yes. I
hope I'm getting the right name, actually. Yes. So that to come and actually save Nairobi Hospital from, you know, the decline of this great institution or hospital that has been in this country for the longest time. So we had the State House say that the probe on Nairobi Hospital governance, it is based on 5-point reform plan enacted in December following petition to President from this particular organization. All right, so people will take it and politicize and say, of course, now also this is a hostile takeover from State House.
Yes.
But you see now the entry of where it is. So him in his capacity as the patron of the Nairobi Hospital, that is the Kenya Hospital Association. So that is the membership body that owns the hospital, according to also other public. So that's how we have him coming into play to this.
Yeah.
And of course, there has been a crisis of governance within Nairobi Hospital as we know it. The board that was there has been just musical chairs with the board members. At some point even we had Herman Manyora as a chairman of Nairobi Hospital.
Yeah.
You know, the services have declined at the Nairobi Hospital. You can spend hours and hours, you know, accessing services in comparison to other great hospitals we do have in this country. But Nairobi Hospital is seeing just you know, a pure shell of what it was before. Maybe it needs this resuscitation. Maybe it needs organization, to good corporate governance to stamp the, you know, the clammy fingers of corruption that is undermining, you know, great services that people or most Kenyans really get from Nairobi Hospital.
Absolutely.
So it will be another heart-wrenching story to see such a great hospital that has a storied history in this country really going down because of poor management and issues of corruption. So when we have also politicians on the other side, that's what I'm saying. Let us not just buy things because it's stripping off the tongue of an opposition leader. Let us get the facts right and we understand what is the underlying issue. How come the president is embroiled in this? With all these things that are being thrown around, that, oh, yeah, there's a takeover there, there's a takeover there. Is there any semblance of truth to this as well? And I think that's a great question.
Absolutely. Because I know the thing that people are quite fussy about is that the president wants to take over Nairobi Hospital, but what they're not getting is that even during the time of Moi, there's a way he was a patron of Nairobi Hospital, same to Moi Kibaki, and then Uhuru Kenyatta, and then now it's President William Ruto's turn to just oversee the operations of Nairobi Hospital. So that is what I think Kenyans are not quite getting, that every president who has been in power has, in one way or the other, been in the position to oversee the running and operations of Nairobi Hospital. Now that it's not a public hospital, it's run by Kenya Hospital Association, which, you know, Nairobi Hospital, there can't be shares there. So that is what people are not quite getting right. But that's the main story in the front page of The Standard this morning. You can read more on page 3 and 4. They're talking about it very deeply. Page 2 and 3, actually. Let's take a look at The Star now. Talks about default shocker as 563,000 graduates or help 90 billion shillings. Revelations raise concerns on the sustainability of higher education fund. They've outlined it here very, very nicely. Varsity loans crisis. Borrowers in default over 563 million or 563,949. Let me not exaggerate. Unpaid loans count to 89.9 billion shillings. 77% of matured accounts not serviced. 33 billion shillings funding shortfall, and 100,000 students risk missing help support. Maybe because of this, because graduates haven't paid the money they owe to help, which amounts to 90 billion shillings. 563,000 graduates owe help 90 billion shillings. So because of this, 100,000 students risk missing help support. That's the main story in the front page of The Star this morning.
But the question you need to ask, and I was waiting for you to ask, how many are employed so that they can actually repay this particular amount of money? Yeah, or this. Yeah, how many actually have gainful employment that now you can actually deduct this money, you know, from help?
Hakuna kazi.
Yeah, hakuna kazi. Yeah, and yeah, of course, and the other who are actually defaulting. Yeah, but I think right now this is a requirement, especially if you are seeking employment in government. They'll always ask about your help status.
They do?
Right? Of course, yeah. They'll ask you, and then now that will go to HR. Immediately. It's like pay as you earn. Yeah, your tax is deduct.
Like paying for help?
Yeah. Goes direct. You have to remit that as well. So this is the thing that has to be done. But, you know, it's a tragedy because this is a sort of a revolving fund. So if you don't really pay back, also you're denying someone else, you know, to actually gained from higher education.
Yes.
And yet you are a crucial benefit of that. So whatever it did for you and it's taken you to where you are, kindly remember, put your hand back and pull someone else up by paying, you know, what is due to help.
That's the Star. Today, being a Tuesday, the Star is not for sale. Fresh, independent and different. Grab a copy of the Star this morning. People Daily, King of Court 2. How one man has managed to dominate Kenya's top labor movement. This is a story captured on page 4. Another term. He's going for his 6th term since 2021. That is, how many years? 25. Somebody who is 25
He's beating
years old.
Moi to the punch. Right? So Moi was hanging by the fingernails, you know, of the top leadership of his country. But right now, it seems that we've got something to learn from Kotu with the leadership of
Francis Atwoli.
Francis Atwoli. Yes! Yes. So how come everyone normally say yes to Francis Atwoli? Right? You can read his story on page 4 of the People Daily.
Till 2031. King of Court 2. Floods state issues risk alert. Names danger spots as death toll rises. Just to mention a few here. You have Nairobi, Kisumu, Narok, Kiambu, Migori, Siaya, Makueni, Busia, Wajir, Kisii, Homa Bay, Taita Taveta, Baringo, Kajiado, Kitui, Kwale, Machakos and Kericho. These are the affected counters. This story is on page 4. Silent threat of surging youth TB cases, growing calls for sensitization. And that's the People Daily this morning. Yes. Before tuvuke voda, I'm trying to see if we have the Business Daily.
Biashara, sioni biashara leo.
Leo ni kama walilala, lakini let's cross over our borders, then we'll come back and take a look at the caricatures this morning. Daily Monitor, the 200 government chiefs on corruption radar. They say the Inspector General government lists officials who allegedly used public funds for personal benefit at the expense of public services, thereby causing financial loss to the government. The office or the affected officials have been given 14 days to pay back all the money or face prosecution. The 200 government chiefs on corruption radar in Uganda.
So it's not a Kenyan problem.
It's not a Kenyan
problem. It's an African problem. Is it? Yeah.
It is. Still in Uganda, top schools in science arts. Yesterday they were still talking about education in Uganda. Today they've still maintained that particular docket. Education. We cross over to Tanzania now. The Citizen, how boda madness, I love this, how boda madness exposes road safety gaps. Again, this is not only a Kenyan problem. Looks like Tanzania and Kenyan problem. I don't know about Rwanda, because Rwanda is also East Africa. So I didn't want to say it's an East African problem, because Rwanda, they look a bit organized when it comes to their borders and the regulations. Well, kama ni zebra crossing, they have to wait for you to, you know, cross the road. Kama wewe unatembea. They have their headgears there in check. But in Kenya, do we? Now, what this newspaper is saying, that while motorcycle taxis are an important source of income for many young people and a convenient mode of transport for the public, challenges persist in enforcing road safety regulations. Yes, that's the main story on the front page of the Citizen this morning. And on Mwananchi, maafa tena Nungwi, jahazi la ua watano. Ni habari kuu hapo katika ukurasa the front page of gazeti la Mwananchi. You had the news time, the one in Rwanda?
Yeah, the news time, but yeah, I don't think it's really captured. Inside the IFC playbook for Rwanda's next growth phase is what in the New Times, Rwanda's leading daily is saying this morning. Business looks for regulatory certainty, stability, and consistencies in terms of government actions. And that story is well fleshed out on page 4 and 5 of the New Times. Also, RDF engineers conclude humanitarian mission in Jamaica, and you can see them coming back to the country there. The Rwanda Defense Force contingent of engineers arrive at Kigali International Airport after completing a 2-month humanitarian mission in Jamaica. What a one. Yeah, so they're back. Okay.
All right, let's take a look at the caricatures now. We start off with the one on the People Daily tunnel stake. There's a Roby governor here Hapa ni kama ako City Hall, lakini City Hall is in floods, right? And he says, as you can see, make Nairobi work is already a city in Sigangpua. Sigangpua. That's Nairobi governor. Nasema glop, glop. Stano Steak.
Yes, Steno Steak, that is in the People Daily, right? And then we do have Ozone in the Star. And trying to jump the hurdle there, as you can see, it is none other than now the party leader of ODM. This is Dr. Oburu, with now the orange split into two. And it seems this is such an Herculean task just to lift also one of pieces of orange there and try and climb this particular hurdle. Remember, the NDC is coming up in March 27th, and already also the Linda Mwananchi has indicated they'll have a parallel NDC. Just as we saw it when they were launching the NADCO report, the following day, we had also a counter report. So also they're going to be a counter NDC. So it is a very interesting, of course, a scenario to watch, because who he is according to law, right? The substantive Secretary General of ODM. So which meeting will be an illegality? That's the question. Is it the Sifunas or now the
Linda Ground?
Yes.
Letu jicho. The caricature on the Daily Nation talks about Russia. The Prime Cabinet Secretary is currently still in Russia. And of course, they had talks yesterday and they agreed that Kenya has been placed on the stop list for recruitment of its nationals in the ongoing war and the Russia-Ukraine war. And we're seeing crocodile tears. Is it crocodile tears, really?
Yeah, this is crocodile tears, because they're saying from Russia with love, no more Kenyans in Russia.
Yes.
And we know this has been such a racket and a scandal, many lured into this country to fight for Russia. And what really ends up is we have body bags coming back to the country. People just disappear completely. So even these talks were, this issues really raised. At the end of the day, this is a pertinent issue. All
right. Finally, the caricature on the Standard talks about what we were talking about yesterday. There's a newspaper that captured it. SHA job scandal. It said only 2 communities are getting jobs at SHA. Mtu mmoja hapa anasema, I don't get it, over 1,300 applied but only 116 met qualifications. The other one says, yeah, I think one had to be either a Somali or a Kalenjin. The commentator is saying something there. You must know people. Yes, that's the caricature on the Standard this morning. Once again, the question you're asking you this morning, and it will form the basis of the conversation and state of the nation, is Edwin Sifuna the kind of leader Gen Z and young voters want in 2027? Is Edwin Sifuna the kind of leader Gen Z and young voters want in 2027? Use the hashtag Morning Cafe TV47. Talk to us, TV47 Kenya on Facebook and on YouTube, or next at TV47 Digital. Our WhatsApp line is 0793267279. Send us a voice note or a video of yourself telling us what you think. Is he the kind of voter you, the kind of leader you as a young voter want in 2027? My handle is at Ann_Dida.
At the bar line here.
Once again, the hashtag is Morning Cafe TV47. See you after the break.
Welcome back. Time now to get down to slice and dice some of the issues that are dominant in the political landscape right now. And of course, we want to interrogate how also our politics is becoming a bit unhygienic, so to speak. The virulent verbalizing that has been going on, the name calling, is it really called for? People are questioning and gagging for politics that is issue-based, so they say. Right? They don't want personality attacks. They don't want to have just sloganeering that is very empty and vacuous when it comes to issues. Because guys, right now they say, hey, we as Kenyans, we are more exposed, we are more informed, and we want to hear how politicians are going to tackle issues. So when we talk about the brand of politics in our country, where does it really stand as it is right now? Many will say, well, I don't watch news anymore, because we can't just stand the negativity and that negative energy that is being, pushed from the mass media as it is. You're talking about traditional media and also what is happening in the new social media as well. That is, of course, the Twitter, the X, and all those platforms as well. But let's listen in just to get a feeling and flavor of what we're talking about.
Na yeye amekasirika, naambiwa hakulala hata hakukula. Nimemuona huko Busia anawaka moto. Amesahau ameenda maendeleo kwa Waluya. Anaongea tu mambo ya rigiji na matusi. Amekasirika, haongei hata kama rais.
Wale watu tunashindana, wale watu wa shares, wale watu wa ukabila, wale watu wa chuki, wale watu wa ubaguzi, hawana chochote cha kufanya, hawana ajenda yoyote, hawana sera yoyote. Mambo yao ni ukabila na chuki, mambo yao ni fitina na matusi. Hawana nafasi katika Kenya hii.
Kasirika haongei hata kama rais, kwa sababu jana tumemtoa nyama kwa meno. Alikuwa amepanga kuiba Nairobi Hospital, tukamuanika. Hiyo imepotea. Amekasirika. Alikuwa pia amepanga kuiba shilingi bilioni 7 ya project inaitwa Nairobi Railway, ambayo inakuwa funded by the British. Kuna contractor amequote 22 billion, anaitwa China Railways. Muti ya Kasongo anaitwa CBRC amequote 29 billion. Yule amepata tenda ni huyu ya 22. Kasongo amesema ipatiwe ya 29. Bilioni 7 apewe. Amechukua huyu ya 22 billion, ameweka kwa ndege, amedeport yeye. Nimemwanika jana. Imepotea. Mtu amekasirika, akasirika asikasirike.
Mimi, I want to challenge them. Those who want to compete against us. This country has elevated its politics. There is no more politics of insults. There is no more politics of name calling. There is no more politics of exclusion. There is no more politics of ethnicity. The people of Kenya want to know, what is the program going forward? Show us your track record. You have been in leadership for many years. I can show my track record. We have changed our education. We have funded our universal health coverage. We have done electrification. We have a track record and we have a plan. Tell us your plan and your track record.
Kazi yetu going forward ni kukasirisha Kasongo. Tukisikia kuna nyama amepanga ya Kenya kuiba, tunatangaza, inapotea.
Don't tell us insults. Don't tell us about ethnicity. Name calling will not help you. Chuma chenu kimotoni. Ama namna gani watu wa Kakamega? Nyinyi mukipima. Mukimiwa wale jamaa. Wanatosha mboga wale. Wanatosha mboga. Wale jamaa. Wale wa shares na ukabila na chuki na migawanyiko. Wako na agenda ya kupeleka Kenya mbele. Wako na agenda.
Mkijua Kasongo anapanga kuiba kitu, mnatafuta Medho, Karongo, Malala, Kalonzo, Wamalwa, mimi, mtafute njia, mjifiche. Mpige na ile signal, msipige na WhatsApp. Wameanza kusikiza WhatsApp. Mtuambie maneno. Tukipata microphone, tunatangaza Kasongo. inapotea, aendelee kukasirika. Neguo. Because wamesema wanaenda nyumbani. Yeye wanasema ati ni injury time. Ati wachukue kila kitu ya Kenya. Mpaka hii Kenya huyu mtu akirudi atauza Kenya. So mimi mkinipatia ruhusa sitaki kufanya kazi nyingine sasa. Ni kunusa nusa. Nikisikia kuna kitu amepanga kuiba natangaza. Na nyinyi mnachukua kelele. Kama leo mawakili, madaktari wamepiga kelele. Mpaka Duale amesema ati Nairobi Hospital ni private. Sasa hiyo Kasongo amewachana naye. Tumeokoa Nairobi Hospital. Amelia.
Who measure on insults, those who measure on tribalism, those who measure on nonsense, I want to tell them chuma chao kimotoni. Wacha niwaulize wale majamaa wale wanajifanya wanashindana na sisi, si mumewasikiza? Mambo yao ni matatu: Kasongo must go one term. Mimi nakuuliza wewe, hiyo mambo matatu wamesema inaweza kujenga barabara? Wako na mpango ya stima? Wako na mpango ya ajira ya vijana? Wako na mpango ya maendeleo? Agenda hawana, sera hawana, mpango hawana. Ama mmesikia wako nayo? Wako nayo kweli? Ati agenda, ati mpango, ati sera, hata akili.
How much is enough, William Ruto? Just how much is enough? Unataka pesa ngapi? Lakini uzuri hapa akiwa na hiyo pesa yote halali. Si umeona amekonda mpaka masikio imekuja juu? Mumeona? Hii mtu ako na mabilioni ya pesa, lakini hala? Si ndio? Na tutawacha halale. We'll make sure, William Ruto, you are not going to sleep for the next 15 months. Utalala ukifika Sokoi. Tutakuanika na hivi vijana wangu hawa. Si umeona vile amekonda? Mpaka masikio inafanya nini? Na bado. Hakuna mali ingine utaiba ya Kenya. What you have stolen is enough.
Ndio mimi nilisema hatutaki siasa ya ubaguzi tena. Hatutaki siasa ya ukabila tena. Ndio tumetengeneza serikali ya broad base. Tumeleta UDA na Kenya Kwanza, tukasema tuungane na ODM. Tutengeneze serikali ya kuunganisha Wakenya. Ndio tuondoe ukabila, ndio tuondoe ubaguzi, ndio tuondoe chuki. Kenya iungane iwe kitu kimoja, kwa sababu umoja ni nguvu.
All right, and there you have it. Of course, very lengthy, just to give you the feel and flavor what we're talking about, our brand of politics and where we are actually as a country to try and decipher what they're telling us. Should we be buying everything hook, line and a sinker that is stripping off their tanks at the end of the day? And most Kenyans, I know, will attest to that fact that they say we've had a bellyful of it. We are tired. We are fatigued because of this kind of politics of name-calling and politics of non-issues. We gravitate towards now issues that affect Kenyans at the level where they are, because politics is all about policy, and politics is all about, good governance, and policy affects life. And that's why politics in life, it is so inexorably connected. We cannot disconnect or uncouple politics with our lives. So if you tune off, how then do you engage in changing the brand of politics in this country? And today I'm honored to create FaceTime with Leo Wamudende, who is a member of parliament, Barron North. Also we have Wakili Harrison Kinyanjui, advocate of the High Court. We have Rachel Omolo, public policy and governance, eagerly awaiting to be joined by Onesimus Gogoyo, who is a member of parliament, Kajiado North. And I want to extend a hearty welcome to all of you. Thank you so much for joining us. Yes, so now you have the feel and flavor of where we are. And I don't know if it resonates with most of you with our brand of politics. Many people have switched off. many people have switched off. But before we even buckle down to it, let me just extend a hearty welcome to Wamudende. To just begin with you, first of all, you've listened to it. Just plumb into it.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me and this opportunity. I like the clips. Actually, it shows two different people, because one person is just talking about ears, I don't know, about how someone is growing thin, how someone is not sleeping. And I'm so happy I got to a parliament that did justice to this guy, because clearly he actually belongs to the streets. He needs to be shouting about and being more concerned about people who are not sleeping and those who are sleeping. And I want to tell Kenyans, by the way, when I was growing up, I was told that people who have money do not sleep. That is wrong. Please work hard, get money. You don't lose sleep for having billions. Billions are not set aside for some people. It's wrong to continually insinuate that maybe people who have money do not sleep, because then it gives people a reason to go home when they have not worked hard and sleep having made nothing, and decide not to wake up the next day to work harder. Because people are told when you make so much money, you don't sleep, you don't lose sleep. In fact, like for me, when I don't have money is when I lose sleep. So the president is very clear. He's just saying, I think he's agreeing with this conversation. Tell us what you will do. Give us your plan. Give us your agenda. Because Kasongo, one term, Ruto must go. That's not an agenda. And that's what we are lacking from the opposition. I remember at some point during Moi's time, we had a shadow opposition, where we had a shadow finance minister who should be challenging now what John Bandi is doing. And we don't even have a presidential candidate at the moment from this disunited opposition. So I think this conversation is right. I know so many Kenyans don't even want to listen to politicians because it lacks objectivity. If you decide to talk about someone's voice, because that's all some people talk about, someone sleeping, someone dressing, someone's stature. That's really not helping Kenyans. But the president is talking about an improved economy, the attempts to create jobs, to improve jobs. You know, Nyota programs launched, housing, affordable housing, SHA, and all that. I've heard something about Nairobi Hospital, which is really sad because again, I'll urge Kenyans to always try and find facts.
Yes.
Because it's very easy to find the facts. Not what I say or what is said in the media or by politicians, but presidents, Kenyan presidents are always patrons to Nairobi Hospital. And if you have a board of less than 10 members and you have a membership of more than 2,000, who do you listen to? Clearly, those guys were stealing. They wanted to borrow like 4.2 billion and put the assets of the hospital at risk. So the president, as the patron, has to come in. He has no other interest. Yeah, and the hospital is owned by Kenya Hospital Association, which has membership. So we cannot now start pointing fingers at the president for saying that. Again, I heard something about billions. Let me say today, the housing ministry has spent
Before we go to the billions, let's just lack on this issue of Nairobi Hospital a bit. This is where we're saying our brand of politics, and where do we need to decipher what is really happening, whether it is truth or not, just as you've mentioned, because those are the facts. But what has been painted is the opposition is, his clammy fingers of corruption is everywhere, and even in Nairobi Hospital, but his incapacity and of the Kenya Hospital Association, him being the patron. They actually, senior hospital doctors, they sought President Ruto's intervention to save the facility from financial mismanagement and bad governance. That is a fact. But if you listen just to one side, then we're blindfolded to the facts on the ground. Harrison.
Thank you very much. I am really shocked and surprised that Mheshimiwa here, I don't want to call him a rookie in Parliament. A politician must develop, must grow, must have thick skin. all over the world, these politicians have this notion, no holds barred. They will throw every jibe so as to achieve whatever minimal advantage over their opponent. Look at Trump, crooked Hillary, sleepy Joe Biden. It's all over. But the president himself here sinks so low as to say they have no brains. What does he expect? After throwing that jibe at his opponents and saying that, look, what does the opposition have to offer? They don't have roads. Of course you can't build roads without you being in power, in government. They haven't got a plan for your health. We have SHA. SHA is failing on the ground. SHA is not functioning. And you have these accusations. Only 2 tribes are getting this employment in SHA or in the fund itself. So what is he portraying? Himself. Is he exempling the presidency as a symbol of national unity, as a cohesiveness focal point, so that we all can rally behind that? What is leveraging in terms of his presidency? He goes and clambers on the top, on the roof of a car. And what is he doing? Campaigning. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. This president, I haven't seen him go in front of a Harambee house to work. He should be exempling the Kenyan people. I've heard a lot of hard work, money. In this country, what we're seeing being flaunted as wealth is stolen money, public money. You tell me that you will wake up at 5 a.m., 4 a.m., or whatever time you wake up, and he talked about someone who gets, to slumber and therefore he doesn't have money or she doesn't have money. He hasn't shown us by example. Oh, ye Kenyans, I wake up at 5 a.m. and I'll be at Harambee House. The person who showed us that was Kibaki. We felt it on the ground. You could see money flowing and doing what it's supposed to be doing in terms of taxes, which is why Kenyans came out and volunteered to pay their taxes. We cut off the yoke of the World Bank. What has the government done through the courtesy of his friend, the president? We are now yoked much more deeper into debt. Is there something to celebrate? And he's telling us we have SHA, we have roads and everything, and he's borrowing. And he feels bad that the opposition now points a finger at him that they are all defaming. So now, the political hygiene that is required, in my humble view, ought to spring from him. He should be the example that we see. This, oh ye Kenyans, is how you start your day.
But are you trying to tell us also the poise and posture of a work ethic will be you showing up at Harambee House at 5 o'clock? That is what.
Not necessarily.
If he's really working on the ground and he's actually unveiling projects, would that really not constitute of him really working? Or you have to actually be donning your tie and, be having a dapper suit to be in a very comfortable seat for you to be working in?
Not necessarily.
That's what I'm saying.
Not necessarily. But I'm saying, have you seen him? Have you seen him over the last 3 or so years that he's been...
Probably he's chosen actually to be doing it from State House where we see him most.
But because he wants to exemplify, display that opulence. And he, of his own volition, without the Kenyan people giving him the consent, the authority, went and changed the structure of State House, some historical artifact that we ought to preserve. The same way he's invading Makongeni, in the same way, you don't even have the courtesy to tell those people, I want to preserve your history, and we will retain one whole stream of these houses which the colonial government built so that we have a memory of where we've come from. Now he goes, I have affordable housing, and he demolishes all those houses. We don't even have something to show posterity that, look, this is where we've come from. What am I saying? But he has nothing that we can grip or show that, look, as a Kenyan people, we are moving forward using your vision for the future.
Thank you.
In a nutshell,
Right.
What he has sunk to down there is not better than what he's accusing the opposition of being. He should rise above that. He should show us leadership, according to the Constitution, ought to be this way. What is it showing us? The worst case scenario of leadership.
Right.
And he doesn't seem to grasp it.
Okay. The opposition also will make a very good book, or poster face of the Book of Lamentations, as it is right now.
When just hearing what they're saying on the other side of the coin. But the question that is being raised, looking even at the quality of our debate in Parliament, Mudende has just mentioned, of course, we used to have very substantive kitchen cabinets that will take, the current regime or with the regime of the day to task, to explain, to question, and they had their own counter budget as well. We've not seen this also from the United
But who is
Alternative.
the opposition? Who's the opposition?
No.
Exactly.
I know. You'll want to, debate on semantics of who's the opposition. Oh, it's not there in the Constitution as it is. But of course, we know what we're really talking about, right? Where is a substantive kitchen cabinet, so to speak, a shadow cabinet that will come and say, okay, Kenyans on the ground, one term, but this is what we will do for you as, the alternative government. We've not seen that. So all that we have is just a vacuous, empty rhetoric, verbal, virulent verbalizing that is happening, tipping off the opposition. Kenyans, I think, they're rising beyond this sort of politics, and they're saying, no, none of you are making any lick of sense to us. Can you give us substantive issues so that we may know that our lives will be changed by the policies that you'll be implementing? Rachel?
Thanks, Dopal. I think my friend Kinenjwe is not being honest with himself, and I think he's underestimating Kenyans too much. We've come from a place where we would believe entirely what politicians are talking to us about. But where we are at now, people are more woke, people understand what they want, people know where they want to be. So certain rhetorics like what you've just heard from the former deputy president, I don't think if those are things that we really would want to listen to. And it is now more of issue-based, agenda-based politics that we want to hear both from government and from opposition. In as much as we don't have within our constitution any opposition within the constitution, does that not stop any united, they call themselves united opposition government, the united alternative government, from coming up, for example, with a budget. We are going to have a budget just in a few months' time. Are they preparing an alternative to speak about and say, yes, the government is offering this. What if we looked at it in this manner? Such things also shape policy, even within government. So instead of hearing more of, you look like this, or you should have spoken like this, or you should have dressed like this, we need to hear more of, these are the policies, or these are the issues that the government is not tackling well, and this is what we need to focus on as Kenyans. And when you call out the government, for example, we were discussing about the Nairobi hospital, it is also important as leaders to give correct information. Can you do your due diligence? Can you dig more onto the issue so that when you speak, you don't just come out and say this and this is happening, giving this information to people and shaping a different narrative from the reality on the ground. I'm not here as a spokesman of the president, but the reality is there's a letter that was now issued and clearing all these things, how the president became the patron, how the structure of Nairobi hospital is. That is what policy is all about. Then the alternative opposition, or the alternative government, as they call themselves, should have now come with a way through which, how do we remove Nairobi hospital from the quagmire they are in into what is sustainable with a good structure in place that will see the hospital run perfectly well. But just talking to us about who is getting more shares, who is likely to buy the hospital, is not helping even the institution as it is. And I would challenge my brother Kinyanjwe here, that you, who is a landed friend to Beni, you should have come up with some policy or some structure and given your opposition team and told them, you know what, as you go on air, now give them this possible alternative structure of governance within the hospital that will see it sustainable. But let us not just be people who just uptake information the way they're given to us, without even due diligence, without even looking into it. Why are we where we are? The issue is, why is Nairobi Hospital where Nairobi Hospital is today? I don't think Nairobi Hospital is where it is because the patron is His Excellency Ruto. The Nairobi Hospital is where it is because of some illegalities which has happened within the structure of the hospital, or certain things which have not been done right. So can we focus on how then do we remove the hospital from where it is to a more sustainable hospital? We know Nairobi, because of Nairobi Hospital, we have seen a lot of what do you call it, health tourism coming into the country. Many other people coming for treatment within Nairobi Hospital. How then do we ensure that we continue being a regional hub when it comes to certain services that can be rendered that are not being given properly in other countries? So let us focus more on how do we better our governance, be it in hospital, be it in education sector, be it in health, other than just telling Kenyans who is likely to pick up what. If they feel, for example, just a second, Kinyanjui, if Kinyanjui and team feel, for example, SHA is not working well, don't tell us that we can always revert to NHIF. That is also an alternative. Then how then, now that we are here with the SHA, how then do we make SHA work? That is why we are discussing, can they have an alternative opinion, an alternative reasoning, an alternative options for us when it comes to some of this.
Allow me just to take a short break right here so that we can come back and just get deeper into it. Yes, even body shaming now has come into play, as you can see it. How your ear is popping out, how big your nose is also. That has become a brand of our politics. We take a short break. When we circle back, we continue with more. Well, I tell you, the debate actually off camera is hotter than on air. Still on SHA, and of course talking about just the health of politics in the country. We continue apace with the conversation, but before we do that as well, I can see the reactions on social media is hot as well, just regarding the question we'd asked you before, and this is all about also the Sifunanization of the nation, right? And also what is coming through right now regarding the current state of play of politics and the issue of Nairobi Hospital. We have Irene Mokobi. She's saying the president intervened at Nairobi Hospital, but when Kenyatta Hospital was unable to feed its patients, his hands were tied. She says, really? Okay. Right. That's a very interesting one as well. Yeah. But let's just comment on that, because now this is we're trying to decipher and to see who is fooling whom in this country when it comes to real issues. Because Nairobi Hospital approached the patron, right? Out of
allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yes.
What do you mean allegedly? You as a lawyer, you want to throw in words allegedly. But where the facts he approached, we have it here.
No.
Senior doctors
there is a patron.
Let us be
there
factual,
is a patron,
Okay.
And we want to know if he prompted. Because this patron, he's capable of prompting and removing himself from the scenery.
Okay, that is pure speculation.
Speculation.
No, you're speculating.
We want to know.
Right, let's go with what we have.
We know.
Exactly.
That possibility does exist.
So
because he can't come out.
No. I think
we are not in the court of arbitration here now. Okay, let's hear from
First, I want to say, as we have this conversation, let us really talk about facts. We are on a panel here. No one is campaigning. At least you can excuse people on rooftops who have no agenda, who say how people look. And I want to say, by the way, being a rookie isn't bad, because you really work hard to and use the experience of
to earn your stripes as well.
Exactly. In fact, in most places, rookies do the best, by the way. So don't mind calling me rookie. Don't mind calling me. No. It's off the cuff.
You are a rookie.
No.
It's okay.
So now, SHA is not working. I mean, he said SHA is not working. He said SHA is not working. By whose standards? So you have two cases that have an issue, and 98% of patients are getting services from SHA. They are working, SHA is working well. Like in my constituency, for example, patients who call me for fare nowadays. Before, people would call me and tell me SHA is paying X amount, I'm forced to pay this amount. And I tell my constituents, go start at your dispensary, because SHA works on a referral system. That is what politicians are not telling Kenyans. Once you start from your dispensary and you are referred all the way, you are a government patient, and government pays. I'm happy to share that information. SHA is working. He's here talking about a president who is not working. In fact, he's the first person to say that. Most Kenyans say this is a hard-working president. They see him waking up in the morning. Of course, you can't define where he is going to sit. He likes working from State House. He doesn't have to go to Arambe House and cause traffic every morning. And we know how Kenyans again complain when we have to be interrupted every day. He's working from State House, and he doesn't have to work to someone's approval. I mean, in fact, who does he have to please? Now, it's also good to get facts. Like someone has just commented that Kenyatta has been unable to feed patients. Really? I can agree sometimes we have medicine issues. Maybe sometimes a theater is not functioning out of the many theaters. But to tell us that there was a day patients lacked food in KNH, I would want that to be substantiated and demonstrated. He mentioned that the president said the opposition has no brains. That is something objective, because you can demonstrate whether you have brains or you don't. Like, for example, by how I talk, Kenyans watching can actually make out from what I'm saying. Have I been to school? Do I have brains or I don't? So if someone actually says on TV, and you can replay it, that kazi yangu ni kukasirisha Kasongo. Now, does that person have a brain? Because if all you need to do every day you wake up is to make someone else angry, does that tell you, portray you as a leader? So I want to say that the president is clearly demonstrating work. Of course, when he took over, and I'm happy this man who was his deputy said the coffers were empty. We had roads stalled. We had, cost of lending was high. But as the economy has been improving, we are seeing the dollar, which was at 162. I'm a businessman. It affected me. And now it's at 129 and actually has been stable for some time. Let us hear opposition talking about that. Production of maize, from 44 million bags, 75 million bags. Fertilizers, my mom, who is a farmer, actually gets a text message because the government registered over 7 million farmers that fertilizer is now in Embu. Go and collect your fertilizer. This is what government is doing, impacting the people on the ground. So the guys seated in their cozy offices, like Wakili here, maybe they do not know because probably they don't need government. In fact, there is a lawyer I even asked, who is a very strong one-term lawyer, though he's a friend. And I asked him, one-term lawyer, and I asked him, so why do you have all this hatred towards the president? And I told him, your area is an agricultural area, and farmers are getting cheap fertilizer. He says, yes, it is 2,500, but how can I queue for fertilizer? Then I'm like, so your problem is actually queuing for fertilizer. So you go ahead and buy at 7,000 and you say government is not working. That is the problem that we have. Even with Gen Zs. Before we even go to the Gen Zs, because I think it's about voter registration. Because we are seeing so many comments online, but we can't find these people when it comes to voter registration. Gen Zs come out. Go and register as voters. Indeed. Let us avoid this conversation online that looks so heated, but when you go on the ground, there is no one actually opposing the president. That's how I'm here. That's how I won in Bere North. That's how I have 2 new...
So they vote on social media. It can be such an illusion that sometimes you can actually go with the social media, but things are diametrically different on the ground. So I hear another moniker that is coming to the public lexicon with the lawyers, that you're a one-term lawyer, a two-term lawyer. I don't know what lawyer you are, but I just wanted to ask, so when it comes to when then raises the question of brains, and we've seen the former deputy president decrying the fact that from his faction, he lacks people with brains. This is what he said. I mean, that they don't have good substantive lawyers like they have in ODM, and how he's saying, oh my, if we could only, and he's calling out for the lawyers, who have maybe the intellectual provenance like you have, to join the camp so that at least you can bolster the engagement, the cognitive, dissemination that is coming from the united opposition as it stands, is decrying if they cannot deliberate on issues as it stands. And to be very honest with you as well, you can actually attest to that particular fact if you give it a very accurate appraisement from your own assessment, now not being or leaning on either side. Do you think this is a level where people can interrogate issues when there's all this noise?
Thank you very much. I don't think that is possible, but I need to correct an impression that has been created by Mheshimiwa, because these ad hominem attacks emanating from his own patron, the president, and you can see his president is very adamant that, look, when you go out there, you must tell the people that the government is working. SHA is functioning, whatever, which is why he's come with a notebook there to ensure that, he ticks all the boxes and he can always go back and file a report.
He's taking notes of what actually you're saying.
That's all right. He has quite a heavy book that he has there. But the point is now, this president, like I said, he has to demonstrate by his own example, show the leadership that we need in this country. But
Wakili, you're not answering my question.
That is issue. I'm coming to the issue because you ask, are Kenyans at that point, at that stage where we can focus on issues as opposed to personalities? Isn't that what you ask?
Yeah, and for the deputy president himself also decrying the fact that we don't have people on his camp
Yes.
who can actually, think at the level, yes, and articulate issues just as we have from other, parties as it stands right now.
I agree. I wholly agree. But who shapes the narrative? A, who gives that narrative traction? C, how and when do they ever get to the Kenyan people so that you have public participation? He called on summons, for instance, by way of example, the governor of Nairobi City County and says that, look, we need a cooperation agreement. And he's eyeing 80 plus billion out of it. When did the Nairobi people consent to that, get consulted, or air their views? It was after the fact. And those opinions, those comments are never taken into account. That's an issue. Should the government poke its nose into Nairobi City County and have a takeover, surreptitious, clandestine, all of that? But the Kenyan people...
Are you trying to test that it's unconstitutional?
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying the manner in which it was adopted is unconstitutional. There was no public participation.
But where is it in the Constitution that you can show me that, yes? Because there's a provision in the Constitution that a government...
Article 2A.
And the county government can actually, come together and, formulate a framework on how they can work together to try and save, if it's Nairobi County or whichever county for that particular matter. Yeah?
But look, who's supposed to be governing Nairobi City County? That governor? Any city. The Urban Areas and Cities Act says the governance is vested in the board. It's all illegal. Does this president know that? Of course he does.
But do we have that provision I'm talking about in the Constitution?
About?
Yeah, of complementarity, of cooperation between the national government.
It is there.
It is there.
But look, the springboard is the board. The springboard, or the means by which to engage the presidency, the executive, is the board. Has the board been appointed? No. Isn't anybody caring that he was not appointed and he's supposed to be there under Section 13 of the Urban Areas and Cities Act? That's what I'm saying. But the Kenyan people are supposed to be having a voice direct under that board because the appointment is so broad-based of every member of that board. But it is not happening. Why? Because this president wants to micromanage the country in a manner that he cuts out of everybody else. Which is why, now coming back to your question, when can the Kenyan people articulate those issues for him to take up? Moreover, he is out there at the forefront going to say that, look, the war between Iran on the one hand and the US and Israel on the other hand, we are condemning these attacks on A, B, and C without asking the Kenyan people, where do you stand? But he is out there mouthing Zionism. And we haven't even told him to go ahead and do it. Issue-based. Where is your voice going to be taken on such an issue? Look at, for instance, the Prime Cabinet Minister. Where do you see him consulting the Kenyan people? Hold on. Where do you see him consulting the Kenyan people on any international agreement? Whereas the treaty-making act demands that whenever he is out there engaging foreign governments, he advertises in 2 daily newspapers way before he informs the Kenyan people the Kenyan government is about to engage into this international treaty, and therefore you as a Kenyan is directly to be affected this way and that way. Lastly, let me conclude.
No. You hold on fast. We come to Rachel on that. As we want to know, do we have any overarching examples of maybe where Kibaki or Uhuru Kenyatta came to the public and told us, this is what we want to do, this is the agreement that we're entering into? We went with the Eurobond. Did we have any public participation with the Eurobond before? You tell me. Right?
Rachel, hold on.
Let's come to Rachel. I'll come to you. Okay. You just marinate over it.
I'm holding my horses.
Yeah, hold your horses. Yeah, let them not all bolt. Okay, let's hear from Rachel.
I think Harrison, you choose really what to respond to, which I don't think is really right for the public's consumption. One, when His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta got into a similar cooperation with the then Sonko's government under the Nairobi County government, I asked you the same question the other time we were seated here.
And I filed a case, and I told you that.
Why haven't you filed another one then? If you sincerely believe that there's some illegality in either the process, there's some illegality in this cooperation, There are certain articles within the Act, within either Urban Act or within the Constitution that has been violated. Why don't you come out strongly? I don't want to believe if you file a case and it has stalled for whatever reason, there's nothing stopping you from reviving the similar case.
Watch this space.
I'm just asking, is there anything that stops you?
Watch
Absolutely not. So I think this inherent attack all the time on any initiative that the government does brings a very wrong narrative in governance, because nothing stops us. And if we feel, or the government feels, or Sakaja felt, that for one reason or the other, he's unable to do one or two things within his mandate and needed to delegate that back to the national government, which is actually allowed within the Constitution, there's nothing wrong with that, Dibal. There's nothing absolutely wrong with that, because what we want is a functioning government within the county or national government. We want service delivered to the people. We want cost of living dealt with. We want inclusivity dealt with. How are we going to do all these things if one person feels, as a county government, I'm unable to deliver to our people, yet I'm mandated to? What is so wrong in entering into a cooperation with the national government to ensure that these services are adequately delivered to the people? That would be my question to Kinyanjui. What is so wrong with that?
Maybe you can ask him direct questions. Yeah? Do you drink potable water from your tap?
Yes.
Right? Without, do you have a dispenser in your house?
Of course, Kinyanjui has a dispenser. Of course, Kinyanjui can afford clean water through a Bowser or something like that. And not majority of Kenyans.
He sunk boreholes,
so I'm not here to defend the corporation. But if there are any gray areas within the corporation, then that has to be dealt with. We all know for sure something like public participation should have been done prior. That was not done.
But you can't do it post hoc.
Just
can't do it post hoc and then.
And I want to believe someone went to court. Someone went to court.
It can't be
someone went to
legalized.
court. No, Kinyanjui, someone went to court.
Let's also agree.
Yes. Someone went to court because of that, but that does not stop the initiative as being a legal initiative.
Yes.
That does not stop the corporation from being a viable possible.
This is the problem with the presidency here. The presidency has legal advisors, and I don't think he pays attention to that legal advice. You can even see himself.
He's not here to defend himself. Maybe he gave his views.
I'm giving an example.
Maybe he gave his views.
You can even see himself affixing the seal upon some law. He himself. When it used to be under Kibaki, it was the Attorney General.
If he's given a bill to assent into that...
I'm answering you. I'm answering you.
Really, this has
really?
He's
gotten that petty.
I'm not a lawyer.
I think I can come in here. I can come in.
No, just let her finish her train of thought, then we take some feedback and come to you.
Secondly, Kinyanjui alluded to the fact that it is right for Rigiji's team to rebuttal anything that the president has spoken about. I don't think two wrongs make it right. If I've insulted, you don't have to. If Trump called whoever, whatever, you don't have to call the other person names as well. That is not the Kenya we want, Kinyanjui. That if the president, for example, said, you don't have brains, so you go back and start saying, yes, I don't have brains, but my ears look better than yours. I mean, we are not in a competition of who is most
So the
smarter.
body shaming that is really coming into play right now is really uncalled for.
That is so wrong, Kinyanjui. So what I want to do, tell whoever you're supporting, whether it is Rigiji's team or whoever team you're supporting, that we are not at a stage where we want to listen to such rhetorics. We are at a stage as Kenyans where we want to listen to issue-based politics. We want to know for sure if Wamunyoro and company feels that the cost of living has not been dealt with, for example. What is this alternative that they are going to give Kenyans? How are they going to address the cost of living?
What is it? What is it?
I think you've interjected too much.
She focused on me.
I did not interrupt.
All right.
No, I didn't interrupt you.
She focused on me.
Hang on. I need
take notes and then respond.
Yes.
No. Remember, I was on my feet.
I
was on my feet when now he gave her the podium, and he said, I'm going to allow you to rebut. And now
she's right here.
I just finish. I'm saying, what can I do as a Kenyan? What can any Kenyan do in the village?
I can respond to that.
2.1
I will respond to that.
2.1
I will respond to that.
Of bursary money.
Yes. 2.1 billion schools bursary money.
All right.
Scandal.
Yeah.
We are saying here a possible scandal in the making. A possible scandal.
So who is
Why am I saying a
exacerbating
possible
this
scandal? I've not read through the bar.
Who is exacerbating this scandal? You want to tell us it's emanating from State House?
State House.
Or the money that have been dispersed down on the ground?
Watch. Now let me tell you. Let me say this loud and clear.
Can I?
All right, just a moment. Just a moment.
It was my time.
Are you done? Let her finish first of all. Just a moment.
Allow me then to answer.
Yeah.
If
Hang
I
on,
was the
hang on.
president-
He's bullying us now, this guy.
Let us go sequentially.
He's bullying us.
Yeah,
I'm the voice
it was Rachel.
I'm the voice of the Kenyan. And that's what I'm saying.
Here. So
Let us stick to the issue base. And I just
finish up, then we hear what we have some
really,
reactions as well.
I think it is very wrong to come on a television like this and tell Kenyans that all the scandals that we are seeing emanates from State House.
No,
Or
I'm saying
insinuating.
I think you're missing the point. The point that I'm making is it's
Listen.
happening
wait for
under
his
his
chance.
watch.
Listen.
It's happening under his watch.
When we came up with the 2010 Constitution, Kinyanjui, and I'm glad you're an advocate of the High Court, you know that we've put structures, we have institutions,
He
very
emasculated
independent.
Emasculated them.
Very independent.
Each one of them.
If you feel as a Kenyan, and many Kenyans have done this, if you feel for whatever reason that even a state officer has violated the Constitution, we have seen them being taken to court.
Yeah.
There's nothing stopping you from pursuing this because we've only reading what is here. We don't know more details about it. Because I don't want to believe that if, for example, of course, because I'm gender biased, there's a sis of mine here called Mary Mwangi, Mwea, special bursary issued to learners without filing application forms or undergoing vetting. I want to believe this information can be found.
Yes.
So you cannot blanketly say that this is a scandal of maybe 20 million or there's another one here of 62 million sent to 3,131 youths.
It's happening
and yet,
under his
probably,
watch.
What is this that you'd expect the president as the president to now come and do and start running bursaries for Mbere North, for North Bondo?
Just a moment. Just a
for
moment.
Bondo constituency?
Let me come to, we'll come to you, Mheshimiwa, then I take a bit of the reactions on social media.
Sure.
I don't think
you are the one who's talking about micromanagement.
Exactly.
Right?
He's micromanaging.
No, he's micromanaging.
Yes.
So this one, is he micromanaging?
Do you want him to
Do you want him to be on the ground to actually be level-gazing?
Why don't you give me the chance? Why don't you give me the chance to
with his telescope and trying to see what is
I'm not thinking about the response. I'm not thinking about that. I'm just saying you will have the podium. You will have the podium. Let me say this. Let me say this. He will have the podium. But I'm saying this as a president. If I was a president, I will just say, now let me warn you. Let me warn every
like
public
Nairobi
servant.
Hospital.
Oh,
that's what.
Why don't you let me speak?
No, you're not letting anyone speak.
All right, let me
like
take it back.
Okay, let him give the warning to Nairobi Hospital.
I would say, under my watch, not a penny of the public tax
including
money
Nairobi Hospital
disappears.
Yeah.
And I would make sure that if you're named in the auditor's report as a governor, as a senator, or the MP that you are on this sort of scandal sort of thing, you will not sleep. I'm telling you.
All right,
I'm telling you. Hold on. No.
Right, thank you.
That's why I say
okay,
we have institutions mandated. We have ESCC.
Rachel,
You are not. Now this is the team that if the president says you're not using your brain, I agree.
Order. Let me take some feedback, then we'll come back to it. And then I'll ask a critical question. You say, under my watch, if I become the president, it will not really happen that the clammy fingers of corruption will... Yeah, we had those promissory notes, but let's hear what Kenyans are saying on social media. Then we come back. We have Lucy watching from Nairobi. She says, for me, it's about survival. Kenyans are rarely consulted when these deals are being made. Lucy. Then we have as well from Facebook, Peter watching from Kisumu City. These coalitions are about numbers in power. The ordinary voter only becomes important during campaign season. Let's see who is coming up next. Brian watching from Mombasa. Young voters want new leadership ideas, not the same politicians forming new alliances every election cycle. Keep them coming up. We have Mary watching from Kitale. The real question is whether these alliances will improve the economy. That's what Wananchi care about. So this is from Facebook. Let's get some voice notes as well. And videos will come much later.
Good morning, Cafe. I feel like those two alliances, political alliances, the UDA and ODM, I feel like they don't really have good interest for us, common Mwananchi. I feel like it's more of their selfish gain, what they are going to gain in 2027. Because if they secure those parties, the good name right now, they feel like they're going to secure seats in 2027, but I don't really think they care about common mwananchi, because I feel whatever really messes us as a country, as Africans, is the leaders we choose are too greedy. They do not care about the people. They only care about themselves, their families, and their pockets. And this is what is really pushing us backwards as a society.
Ibal Enya and Ann Odida. I'm Daniel Meli, a student of laws at Kenyatta University, watching from Nairobi. For many Gen Z and young voters, leadership today is less about age and more about courage, authenticity, as well as consistency. Young people want leaders who can boldly speak on issues affecting ordinary Kenyans, especially governance, accountability, as well as economic opportunity. This generation is very political aware and less attracted to traditional political rhetoric. They are looking for leaders who are accessible, who can engage them directly, as well as those leaders who are willing to challenge the status quo when necessary. So any leader who consistently...
Right, feedback there from you, just listening in. Thank you so very much for that, and keep them coming on so that we may highlight them. And we continue pace with the conversation. Let me, now that we've quieted down a bit, and quieted our hearts, let me just come to Wamudende and ask that particular critical question you were saying. If I was a president, we had Kibaki also saying, under my government, right, where you're promulgating the Constitution, there will be no sacred cows. And what happened? We saw so many sacred cows, right? And the issue of corruption was there. Anglo-lism was under Kibaki's watch as well.
Yeah, so I mean, apart from just what you hear from the streets and from rooftops by the likes of Wamunyoro, I would want to be shown one government scandal that has been taken from EACC to the courts. But before I come to that, it's actually really amazing, actually, because we can see here, one, I need to, telling someone they have no brains is not body shaming, because this is something that they can demonstrate. I want to repeat again, if whatever you are doing, because for example, if you see, you can look at me the way I dress and say, I don't know how to dress. The same thing, and it can actually be demonstrated, you don't know how to dress. But and that's what I would liken to telling someone they have no brains. That is actually not body shaming. Telling someone go dress properly, and it's said a lot of times, that is advising someone. And if someone is demonstrating that he is not using even one brain cell by the way he communicates, it is okay actually to say that these people do not have brains because they need to go sit back, use their brains, or if they, maybe they don't have, but if they had, let them demonstrate and come back. So I don't want to agree with the fact that our president has actually used any insults anywhere, or even he has demeaned anyone. And it's very easy to demonstrate that you have brains. For example, we can have a conference today, let's have a shadow cabinet, let us be given an alternative to SHA. This is what the government is doing, this is what we will do. Affordable housing, this is what the government is doing, this is our counter proposal. In terms of the National Infrastructure Fund, I want to agree with the guys, the two young people who spoke. I will agree with them on one thing, but I will correct them on one. One is when the governor of Nairobi County speaks, he is getting feedback every day. Even I, as a resident here, complain. I am getting feedback every day from my constituency. So I already have public participation. The deal is about solid waste management. It is a problem for Nairobi people. Again, what do you want to go back and ask the people? They are already saying when it rains, our drainages are clogged up. Can the national government assist the county government in making drainage better? So what public participation are you talking about? I want to hear any Nairobi resident opposing better street lighting, better infrastructure, better drainage, and better planning. So these are the things that the government is coming to to help the county, to collaborate the county about infrastructure gaps. So really, if national government is getting feedback from the citizens and the county government is getting feedback, unless we do something to please the opposition or the public gallery by calling a meeting and people say, we want better infrastructure, it can be done. But from where I sit, we don't have to do it. In terms of the Gen Zs who spoke, I agree with them that we need better quality leaders, people who are focused on what is innate for the Mwananchi, what is innate for Gen Zs, what's innate for me as a Kenyan. And that is why most of the politicians are not happy with the president, because that is the question he asks himself every day. And I want to ask these Gen Zs, now I want to correct them. Like the president launched the Nyota Fund. You just needed to go to your phone and apply. And I'm giving my case. When I was in university, I had Simu ya Jamii. Maybe probably you are very young. Those people who were there that time, I don't know if Wakili here was there, it was costing 13,000. By the time I graduated, I had 6. I had employed 6 people in Nairobi. I came from the village. But 13,000, the president today is giving 50,000 to young people. Have these guys applied? Or they were told by politicians, oh, Nyota Fund is bad, do not apply. Hustler Fund. The government comes up with an idea to help Mama Mboga. And you know, 500 shillings is more than a week's stock for some people. And people apply and default. Is it the president's failure, or is it our culture as Kenyans where we don't want to be accountable, we don't want to pay? And I want us to have that conversation. I want to correct them on one thing. They are saying they are very aware. That's what the young man said. But the statistics are not showing that. I will repeat, 260,000 registered people to date. Of course, Mbeere North, we never had the chance. I'm going to mobilize young people in Mbeere North. In fact, I will register more people than any constituency. But does that demonstrate that you're politically aware? No, it doesn't, because we have more than, I don't know the number of it, but I'm sure it's more than 1 million unregistered Gen Zs. It's more than 1 million. 260,000 is really not a number to show that Gen Zs are really politically aware, because it can only be done by the ballot, not by what we say here, not by the exchanges we do here, but by the ballot. So
the number of defaulting is high. I agree with you. I want just to gravitate, maybe take a turn on this conversation that we're having as well, and look at what also is coming up with our brand of politics. When we're talking about the Messiah, complex syndrome that is also taking up Kenyans right now. We seem not to be all the wiser, learning from the past, where people will come with populism and sloganeering and to sweep us again. And when you plumb deeper, there's so much emptiness and vacuity that is inside there. But we want to remind you on that particular question that we had earlier, so that we can see how also people are reacting. And it's all about the Sifunanization of the country. Is Edwin Sifuna the kind of leader Gen Z and young voters want in 2027? That's the probing question. We have a poll, and let's see how people fared. Right, so what was your reaction? How do you think? Are we caught up in this popularity bubble that is ongoing? Yes, and we have there, yes, at 68%. We have 25% there, no, and 77%, maybe, they're undecided. The Tarakanithi, the swing vote that sometimes can make all that discernible difference at the end of the day. 68% say yes. But we need to interrogate, what is the discernibly difference between William Ruto and Edwin Sifuna? Of course, you can say he's not the president, but even William Ruto, despite the fact that he was the deputy president, he wore that particular Messiah complex, signaling that came to the public, and they bought into his narrative. So what is so different with what is happening currently that we can say there is such a wide chasm of a difference that we can go for Edwin Sifuna? Why 68%?
68%, and I think those demographics shake to the core and to the bone. In fact, I saw him, staring at the figure to confirm that actually what he was seeing is...
Yeah, I'm shocked.
You can see.
I'm shocked.
It's a confession that he's making.
I'm waiting for my son.
He's squinting. Yeah. I mean, the screen is so far.
Absolutely.
So he's squinting.
He was squinting to confirm it is actually 68% or 6.8%. He's shocked. And that is expressive of the fixation that his brigade, the president and his brigade, have on the so-called suppression of the youth, the Gen Zs and the young people. And they've never woken up to the reality that demographic is so swollen, it is so humongous that they cannot be able to manage. And this is a reality that he has never woken up to since 2024. And when he stared at that reality, unfortunately, he then had to, veil it completely.
But that is a reality that brought him to the presidency. Wasn't it?
Not wholly.
That
not
demographic
wholly.
You're talking about.
Not wholly.
Yeah,
not
the
wholly.
youthful bulge.
Allow me, because not wholly, because the Gen Zs or the younger generation who are now of age, who are being accused by Wamatende here not to be politically suave, not to be awake and conscious, and unfortunately he is dismissive of them, which I didn't
dismiss. I said they need to go and register as voters. You should join me in calling them to go out and register.
I have in
They are not registered.
I have in the past.
Yeah.
I didn't interrupt you. Allow me to finish. So you can see for
but don't
Sifuna,
put words in my mouth.
For Sifuna, he is articulating and he's standing for with consistency, that which the young people are looking for: change, commitment to your cause, in the sense that they see him always at the Senate, on the floor, questioning the excesses of government officials, in a manner that is not attacking those people ad hominem. It is questioning their exercise of state power. And he has the fact and the scrutiny that he's subjecting them to in terms of the constitutional imperative of accountability is something he's carrying over as their aspiration.
But that is not a favor.
No.
He's not doing anyone a favor. That is his job.
Reflecting.
That is his
job.
work.
But I'm saying the majority of them, including him, and he just won. Let me remind him, he won by a thin majority, very thin, razor thin, that I don't think he can sustain if everybody showed up. And he had to be propped and pushed by the government and the resources that were available. Today, he cannot, if he stood on his own. Let me remind him of that. But in Parliament, no, you're the one who brought it up.
Yeah.
You brought it up.
But we need to know. No.
I'm not being personal.
Just a moment.
Because you say the senator, he's just doing his job.
Yes.
He's just doing his job. And I applaud him. No. But I'm saying, in contradistinction, you don't see the same articulate expression of concern. What he's saying is that he's in touch with his own people. But he forgot, he told us earlier on, there's someone asking for a handout for bus fare to move from point A to point B. He hasn't told us how his government, how his people are going to ensure that there is affordable public transport.
National infrastructure fund.
No.
That was not the...
All right, finalize. We go to Rachel now.
Sifuna, yes, so that I can give you the floor. Sifuna then is the embodiment to the young people of that which they aspire for in this country. And the fact that he was able to say that, look, under this 10-point agenda, we were supposed to have this until the 7th of March. And beyond that, then we couldn't sustain it, legally speaking, because within the context of this agreement, it has a time frame. The sunset clause was there, and it kicked off. But here we have a wing that wants to insist on it. So to the young people, they say that, but if it's in black and white, let's look at what he is articulating. Is it outside of what he said? And then he got the endorsement
but there is a lot
of Raila.
No. Hang on. There's a lot of ambiguity, and things are very foggy with that as well, even as a statement itself. Does it mean now on the expiry of the Memorandum of Understanding, then the entire ODM faction will pull off from the broad-based government? Because this broad-based government is really predicated on that Memorandum of Understanding. Right?
But he had a shelf life. He had a shelf life. Yeah. And this is the dishonesty that we have in this country.
But
you cannot take milk that has gone sour to fix your tea, to make your tea.
I heard, a girl or a lady here talking about how also we as human beings, this is our atavistic nature. It's all about aligning our pockets at the end of the day. What makes you think that Edwin Sifuna is not capturing the moment for his own political capital and optics right now?
I'm not overruling that. I'm not overruling that.
That's what I'm saying.
But I'm saying, and you asked me a specific question. One is different. Why are the young people, why are the Generation Z looking up to him? And you saw the statistics right there. Demographics are 68% for him. The minimum percentage that is undecided cannot be where it is. They are saying that, look, there may be flaws out there, but the larger representation, the larger percentage of what he stands for.
Thank you. Let's come to Rachel.
I subscribe, and therefore I see him as the alternative.
Right. Thank you. I still need also to get the debunking of the Messiah complex. Are we caught up in that bubble? Rachel, continue.
Thank you. And first, allow me to say I've also vied before, and I'm intending to. And so let me just tell my brother here, who's not gone into that context, that for us, even when you win with one vote, it is a win. In politics, there's nothing like number two.
Exactly.
So whether it is as minimal as one vote, extra vote, it counts.
Yeah.
No. That one is there to be verified.
Let's not go there.
And the power is grabbed, power is not given.
Yes,
power is grabbed also, power is not given.
Power is grabbed?
And power is not given in politics. So you go in it knowing.
We vote. You don't grab.
We vote. And how do you grab the power? By ensuring your voters come out to vote for you.
Exactly. You get to grab power?
No, you grab it by ensuring that people vote for you. You go out of your way.
And that's why you're seeing them grabbing. This is the grabbing of the power. This is what is happening. That's what's happening.
No, this is wrong, and you know it, and we've already...
But we've established.
No.
Haven't we established?
We've already established the lies, and you already know
No, because his paradigm, her paradigm is grab power.
Okay, let her finish.
Of course, you know what she meant.
Oh, my goodness.
You know what she meant.
He's called Kinyanjwe.
Yeah.
And this is a court of law today, and we are here to debate until Dibal, you'll add us more minutes because you've given him enough.
Yes.
Sifuna appeals to the youth. That is not a lie. But because of how he has positioned himself, how he has packaged himself as a youthful, conventional politician. That does not mean Sifuna is the only youthful leader we have in this country. And I think that's where majority of the youths are going wrong. If you allow me to say, we have had enough of these youthful leaders from Kibaki's time, where we had Ochila Yako sitting in as a minister of energy. We come to Uhuru Kenyatta's cabinet. We've had youthful leaders over time. Even the president today started as a youth. If you look at his age when he joined politics, he was fairly young. So this narrative of we need youths at a particular corner for things to work is not right. Even in the current government, we have a cabinet secretary who is still not below 35 years of age. I don't even think if the youths are aware of that. We have quite a number of PSS who are equally youthful. But my question is this. Are they serving the interest of the youth? Coming to why Sifuna is packaging himself as it's packaging himself. He has said he wants popularity. The other day he spoke about, I'm now popular. Is it about you being more popular, or is it about Sifuna doing the right thing by the youths? Sifuna is speaking the language of the youth. The youth want someone to advocate on governance issues, which has come out eloquently and spoken about them. He's outspoken about corruption, illegal arrests, cost of living. He continually talks about those issues. But are we seeing more impact on the ground about them? Has he pushed any particular policy towards the very same issues that he continually speaks about out of Bunge? Have we seen Sifuna, for example? I'm not here to defend any other person, but what I want as also a youthful person, that when we talk about youthful leadership, can we task the so-called youthful leaders like Wamudembe here to tell us this is what we are doing for our demographic, this is what we are doing for the youth of this country, these are the particular policies or laws that are going to help our people. When we talk about unemployment, we know what the government is doing with affordable housing. We know about the Nyota program. We know about the Hustler Fund program. Is there much more that can be done to help the youth? Or is it about us continually talking about, oh, youths have been left out, or youths are unemployed, or this and this is happening? What is this that the youthful leaders we have now are doing to help the youths?
Right.
That is the focus that I would want the youths to have. So that when they say that, yes, Sifuna is emerging as a voice for us, can you task him? Because he's already there in that space. And that is why you elected him anyway, to be a voice for you. When Sifuna was elected, for example, when Babu was elected, for example, when Mabudembe was elected, for example, they were not the same age as they are today. So even these youthful leaders who say, we want an alternative voice, you already have the youth. Can you have a forum, for example, where you task the youthful leaders within this particular government, within Bunge, and ask them, what are this and this that you can do for us? These are our issues. How then do you address these issues so that that also reaches the president, that this is what the youths want of this country? How do you address some of these issues? Otherwise, it will continually be a cycle. Tomorrow we'll have another Sifuna coming in, purporting to be speaking about the youth.
And it will still be caught up with the Messiah complex. All right.
So what are we supposed to do?
You raise a good question. And we also need to be cognizant of the fact that we have Sifuna, who is a Nairobi senator, and we have Johnson Sakaja, who is a governor of Nairobi. Two working together. One is supposed to be overseeing the other. So do we still have issues? We need to critically ask ourselves. Did we have also youthful hands, or do we have a youthful hand in the Nairobi County?
Governance of Nairobi.
Why are people decrying about also the governorship? We have feedback, and this is what people are saying. Let's see what we have from Dennis. That is Denish Odhiambo. He's saying young voters don't need populist leadership like Sifuna.
Please give me a chance.
Look at what is happening in Nairobi. People are dying of floods, but the senator who should provide oversight is nowhere. Okay, I didn't even see this. Right? So this is just speaking to what I was saying. Let's get some voice note as well.
Good morning, Morning Cafe. Good morning, Debal. Good morning, Anne. This is O'Brien watching live from Nairobi. And what I would like to say this morning is that when young voters, especially the Gen Zs, look at leaders like Edwin Sifuna, the issue isn't just about political affiliation. Gen Z voters today are questioning the political status quo. That is the old system and patterns that have defined Kenyan politics for very many years. What many young people are looking for is leadership that feels different, transparent, bold, and willing to challenge established power structures. So for figures like Sifuna, the real test heading towards 2027 will be whether they truly embody that shift or remain part of the same political order that young voters are increasingly pushing back against.
Good morning, Cafe with Anne Odida and Debal Inia. This is Kalen. I'm watching from Kiambu. So my opinion is it depends on whether Sifuna politically and leadership style aligns with Gen Z. So my view is, the Gen Z tend to prioritize issues like job creation, climate change, and government accountability. Sifuna track record and the statement which she's giving, she needs a wake-up call to do all that, because whatever she is, she has the manifestos, whatever she's giving, they are not clear with what the Gen Z want. So maybe it will depend with the voters. They will have to decide whether it's for Sifuna or the other way around.
Good morning, Cafe with Dibal Ainea and Anne Odida. My name is Levi Mulase, and I'm watching from Nairobi. Yes, Edwin Sifuna is the kind of leader Gen Z and young voters want in 2027. And I believe many young people resonate with him because he represents a style of leadership that is bold, articulate, and willing to hold power accountable. And therefore, young voters today are drawn towards leaders who speak plainly, defend institutions, and stand firm on issues of governance and integrity. And Sifuna has consistently projected that.
Dibal, Inea, and Ann Odida. Watching from Nairobi, Wakili Juma Ronald Rigania, Gen Z lawyer, also tuned in. On Edwin Sifuna, many young voters see him as bold, outspoken, and with many relatable qualities. Gen Z often gravitates towards his style of politics, feels less traditional, more direct, and that resonates with a generation hungry for authenticity. But whether he can translate that energy into real structures of leadership is the biggest test. Now on the whispers of UDA and ODM cooperation ahead of 27, let's be honest. Alliances in Kenyan politics have often been about survival rather than principle. While leaders frame them as unity for the people, many Kenyans feel it's more about securing power than reflecting their actual will. The sentiment on the ground is cautious. Voters want service delivery, not just shifting coalition. But as I end up, I would like to say I'm of the faction of broad-based government and two-term as a youth leader and an aspiring MCA next year, Bamburi Ward. Thank you.
Right, I think also I'll be issuing an invoice here to the Wakili there for taking that opportunity to declare that he'll be running. All right, we just want to respond to this particular reactions from our feedback, even as we were giving a closing statement very briefly.
Very briefly. Unfortunately, I'm not getting that much time. But yes, I was shocked, by the way, because we have to define how you look at what qualities of leadership are you looking at as Gen Zs. And for Gen Zs to consider Edwin Sifuna a good leader, in fact, to compare Edwin Sifuna and President William Samoei Ruto, I don't even know how it was done, but it's just comparing night and day. I mean, one cannot be judged by the noise they make. When I'm elected as a member of parliament, I move from Bunge la Wananchi, where I make noise, to a house that makes laws. I'll give you an example. We are talking of unemployment. How many contractors in Nairobi have pending bills that have closed shop, that have stopped employing youth, that have stopped growing the economy because of pending bills in Nairobi County? Did we hear any one day Edwin Sifuna talk about drainage, flooding, mismanagement, unemployment, favoritism, anything in this county? Because that is why he was elected. And because he chose to go to Bunge la Mwananchi and start shouting, then Gen Z consider that good leadership or qualities of a good leader. I am very shocked. I would want Gen Zs to question Sifuna's leadership. What bill have you introduced in Senate so that the things that you complain about, because he has powers. For example, I just came in, I've already sponsored one bill targeting innovation in young people. Gen Zs, as they watch, I mean, today you have a very brilliant idea. You present it to government.
Thank you.
It will be subjected to procurement laws.
Yes.
What has Sifuna done to ensure that Gen Zs in Nairobi County get more jobs, are more aware of their role in, or contribute more to the governance in Nairobi? So based on what do you consider Sifuna a good leader? And I'd rather even we talk about Babu Owino, because I know what he's doing in his constituency as a colleague.
Let's leave it at that. Let's leave, so that at least it's orienting our thoughts and flipping, the coin to question as well, which is good. Your closing remarks and reaction.
I can't stop being surprised at this, how they are stung by Sifuna.
He's to the point
anyone. But you can see now. I mean,
let it finish, because we're winding up.
Now you see, look at the display of opulence that they have. At every turn, they want to show the number of helicopters they have flown into the scene with. They want to come with, we
are on Sifuna's leadership.
They want to come with high consumption fuel guzzlers. They want to demonstrate what sort of watches they are wearing, the expensive type, the high-end type. Now, contradistinct to that with Sifuna, he appears there wearing a t-shirt, a golf shirt, your casual wear. That's what he's wearing. And he's not out there with an entourage of people who have brand new spanking vehicles. What is he communicating to the average Kenyan that is so hard pressed economically? He's saying, I am with you, and then he's not displaying this stolen wealth.
He's so hard pressed economically. Will you be telling the truth?
No, I'm saying. Let's accept the fact that he's earning a salary as any senator would earn. Let's agree to that fact. And not try to show that, he has sunk into some penury.
Okay, you need to wind up.
Yeah. So therefore, the Kenyan people are looking for a functional government. This is not a functional government. A representative government that listens to them, this is not listening to them. It is headlong, following a certain script that it has, that it's, I'm right now ticking all those boxes.
Thank you.
And so the Kenyan people feel, I cannot give you another term to do this.
Rachel, I yield the mic to you, briefly.
No, when Kenyan talks, you just want to stare and like, are you for real?
Yes, I am.
I know, and we all agree that Sifuna really resonates with a lot of youth.
We're winding up.
Yes, we're winding up, and I'm just finishing. You gave them time, like I'm the only lady, you're three men. So Sifuna really resonates with the youth, which is a good thing. We are in a totally different era, which is digital, first of all. And looking at the older politicians, if I may call them so, they don't speak so much on Twitter or X for now, Facebook. They are not going to go to TikToks. But this is where you'll get the youths. And that's why Sifuna resonates more with them. He's accessible to the youths. They want to chat something, they want to speak something, they'll always get him. But I want them to look at leadership differently.
Yeah.
It is not about how outspoken Rachel is. It's about the issues that are affecting each and every one. We are going into a 2027 general election. Are we going to look at how outspoken Rachel is or how bold Rachel is, but how Rachel is going to present the agenda that resonates with the people? How then are we going to ensure that, because Sifuna himself has also said that he is still in ODM. ODM is part of the broad-based government. And our party leader has spoken about this over time, that we are not leaving this government. So how then is Sifuna going to ensure that these issues reaches the government? Because we are operating under structure, that the cost of living, the issues to do with police brutality, the issues to do with inclusivity are addressed within the structures of governance. That would be my plea to the youth and to Sifuna himself.
Thank you.
That because you've said you are not leaving ODM and ODM is working with broad-based government, then how do you ensure that these issues that you speak about outside, what is it that you are doing that they're addressed within
Good questions, but time is really running low on us as well. We will have to really broach deep on those questions that you're raising, pertinent questions. But I want to also follow up on the poll to the question that we were discussing regarding Edwin Sifuna. Let's see how the numbers are tallying up right now. Right, so that has risen by, is it percentage? How many? 3%? Yeah, from 65. Was it 65?
It was 69.
It was. Now it is 69. Yeah. We have 24% saying no, and 70. Maybe they are still remaining. Maybe, right? That has not even moved up at all. So those are the reactions. But as you mentioned, as we're winding up, thank you, Omodhen. I really do appreciate you coming through, Wakili. I really appreciate, and also Rachel. Very good, incisive, trenchant discussion that we've had here, which is good. The power of one is very important, right? Out of Hitler, what happened to him? Right? Through the party ranks, he rose by the power of one, right? And was he not charismatic? He was charismatic. Was he not religious? He was religious. What did he do? The extermination of the Jews, right? Yes, we know what happened with the extermination of the Jews.
Did he?
And then Martin Niemöller, what did he say? Right? First they came for the socialists. I was not a socialist.
Yes.
I did not speak for the socialists because I was not a socialist. And then they came for the trade unionists. I did not speak for them because I was not one. And they came for the Jews. I did not speak for the Jews because I was not one. Then they came for me. That was it. All right.
The Zionists.
Yeah.
Anodida is coming up next. Don't go away. Much more on the other side of a break.